It's the SDG Podcast. Before we get started, you can check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com/podcast or find us on all the social medias, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Solution Design Group. Hey, everybody. How about you introduce yourselves to these 5 people that are listening, and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Els Tahura.
Hey, I'm Chad Jetner.
I'm Peter Lawrence.
And I'm Kyle Blocker, and today we're going to talk about special moments. That always gets me. So here's the background. Chad does a lot of stuff to create little special moments for the people he works with and the people in his life. And it's stuff like breakfast sandwiches, organizing happy hours, laying out breakfast, setting up scavenger hunts. I don't know, all the stuff you've done and mentioned. Yeah, it's cool. And it's a way to brighten people's days, make things more fun, that kind of stuff. So the purpose of this podcast is to talk about stuff you can do. And this is kind of the antidote for the burnout podcast. So what can we do
prevention
to help prevent burnout among our teams using special moments? So Chad, what's your latest special moment you've created for somebody?
Actually, so this one's happening tomorrow, right? So
ooh, secret moments.
Secret moments.
It's super. So this one's probably relatively unique. So my son is coming home tomorrow from being deployed overseas. He's been in Kuwait for a year, and he was going to try to create a special moment for me. So he was going to try to do this thing where, you know, he knows that my wife and I usually go to the same bar all the time, and Saturday afternoon, kind of a standing date. He was going to just show up, right? Like he got his arrival time, he got everything. It just overlapped with when we're usually there. He was just gonna walk in and show up and sit next to us, and have that little special. Oh, yeah. He'll be in uniform.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on YouTube, make people cry.
Exactly. So one of his buddies accidentally spilled that, oh, he's coming home, like texted me. He's like, hey, do you guys got anything planned for Sam on Saturday? And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? And so now that I know, I'm going to change it up on him. And he knows that I know, so I'm going to go pick him up from the airport. I talked to all his buddies. We reserved half of our favorite bar. My wife has no idea. My wife thinks tomorrow that I have to go up to my parents' house and help them out with farm work, right?
Okay.
So instead of that, I'm going to go pick up my son. I am going to pick him up. I'm going to drop him off at the bar. And then I'm going to tell my wife, hey, listen, honey, we're going to still do that thing. I'm a little exhausted, but I like, and then walk her in, and Sammy will be there waiting in his military, camo, whatever. And we'll have cameras and blah, blah, blah. And I hope if it works out, it's going to be really, really cool. If it doesn't,
it's still going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a bar. You could still have a beer.
But I'm changing it on him because I told him this plan. I'm like, hey, we should do this. And are you okay hanging out for a little bit while I drop you off and go get mom? And so he said, yeah. But what I'm doing is I messaged all his friends. I'm like, hey, tell him that you'll see him that night, blah, blah, blah. So also for him, when I drop him off at the bar, all his buddies will be there, like literally all of them. There'll be like 30 people for him. And then he'll have a surprise. My wife will have a surprise. I'll have a couple of grain belts. It's going to be great.
It's a 26-part special. It's dual moments with you got quite a plan. You've created multiple special moments.
It's
and then
the
an overarching special moment.
I was just going to say
Nice.
that. Dang it. So I've got a question.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for, I don't know, ever?
Yeah.
For all time?
Right.
Doing these special things for your family? Don't they catch on? Don't they become skeptical? Like, oh, sure, we're just going to go to the bar. Sure, sure. I've heard that before. Look, there's a meat raffle. Oh, what a
well, I mean,
surprise.
it doesn't hurt that we also go to the bar quite a bit. So if there's a bar-based special moment, that's usually a surprise. You know, like
That's
whatever
easier.
ends up on the other end of that rainbow can be
Sure.
a pretty cool surprise. But
Yeah.
no, they don't. Right. Well, so consider the thing that I did last year for Valentine's Day for my wife, right? We talked about that a little bit, but it was essentially every morning I lay out her coffee, I lay out her 2 Keurig cups, I put Hershey Kisses on top of them, and she figured out that, oh, my OCD husband has the flags pointing the wrong way. They used to always point straight north. I would straighten out the flags on the Hershey Kisses and have them point straight north because, you know, my wife is
wouldn't you?
my true north. So she
Yeah.
sees the flags, and then one day she comes in and she sees that the flags, one's pointing straight up, the other's pointing straight across. She takes a picture and she's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And so the next day they're pointing a different way and a different way and a different way. And eventually she figures out that it's clock faces, essentially, is what I'm doing with Hershey Kisses flags. So this is 3 o'clock, this is 6:30, this is 7:45. At the end, on Valentine's Day, I gave her a sheet with clock faces and letters. And then I gave her one of these. These are, and people on the listen to the audio won't see it, but this is a Da Vinci cryptex, right? So
Yeah.
you 6 letters, you decipher the code, you open it up, and there's a note in there. And so I did that for my wife. It was this week-long buildup to this. She gets
How
the
did you
cryptex
know that she would get onto the clock thing? Like,
because she knows that I have OCD, right? So if for a year or for 2 years or for 5 years, she's seen exactly what that is. And so
right.
So she knows if it's out of place, then that's
Yeah.
very much deliberate.
Yeah, exactly. And so when she saw that they were out of place, she's like, "Oh, that's weird." Snap, snap, like, and she took a picture of each one, and I also took a picture each morning in case she didn't get it.
What?
Okay.
No.
So, yeah, and so if she
You
didn't
should
get
have said,
it,
this is for next year. Stay
Because
Yeah.
tuned.
if she didn't get it and you had all those pictures and then you revealed that with the clock, I think that would have been equally as cool.
yeah. So it would have worked either way. The fact that she got it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, she opens this, and inside this is a little thing, a little, a little compartment where you can put like a note or anything else. And after all the buildup, and after the, she's like, by the Valentine's Day, she was just ridiculously excited. She opens the note, and the note says, "We're almost out of grain belt." So, which was
So-
additional planning. I had to drink all the grain belt in order for that note to make sense. So
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it
That was a
was-
special moment for you, right?
it was a special moment for me. Yeah, everybody wins. So, and there was a little QR code that had a little scavenger hunt in there and whatever. But these little special moments that I do for her, yeah, it requires a lot of planning, but they've got to be, and it helps that I'm a little OCD. So like she notices when things are out of place, when things aren't arranged a certain way, or when we don't have an amount of toothpicks in the toothpick jar that doesn't easily divide by 5, I go nuts. And so like she knows all this stuff, and so it helps me set up context for these things that
I'm going to write this down. Give Chad odd number of toothpicks daily for
I'm going to send you
in the
4
future.
toothpicks a day.
Yes. For
Yeah.
5 days until it
Yeah.
finally becomes 20, and then you're okay.
And then one day it'll be 2.
So it doesn't sound like it takes a lot of money. It doesn't sound like it takes a lot of huge amounts of effort. It takes a lot of planning and thinking and a little bit of doing, but
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like an amazingly special time, right?
Well, and that's the biggest part of this is that and you can do this for anybody, right? Like the cryptex thing, these things you can buy these on Amazon for $25. Like they're not massively expensive. But every time you give one of these to somebody, it's fun, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
It's whatever. And it's 2 parts, right? One is the deciphering it, and then 2 is whatever the cream filled center of the Tootsie Roll Pop, or wait, what is it? How do you get to the
The
center of a
Tootsie Roll
Tootsie
center
Roll?
of a Tootsie Roll
Yeah.
Yeah. So
or of a Tootsie
whatever
Pop.
that is, it's two part. This is a two-parter, and there's so many. That's the thing that there's so many opportunities to do this all the time, right? And so what I
puzzles
do,
and clues and like
yeah,
things to build up is what you're saying.
It doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to be an elaborate thing. Like you've talked about some like things that there was a lot of pre-planning and coordination, but it could be just like recognizing someone is having a bad day and doing something nice for them.
yeah, and that's like we talked about empathy a few weeks ago or a month ago, I forget exactly, but being able to recognize that is pretty big. And then once you recognize that, and the other part of all of these little special moments is at the core of it is getting to know the people around you, right?
Right.
To a degree that you know that this is going to be meaningful to them, right? And so that's why empathy is important. Getting familiar with your coworkers to, comfortable level, like that's another side of it.
So
And
seeing
then
them
actually,
smash it open with a hammer would not be the point you're going for right
Yeah.
there.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sorry,
I had
Brad, I interrupted.
kind of a funny special moment I created for somebody.
Two of them I heard.
Yeah. So somebody was having a bad month. Their daycare got shut down because somebody sneezed or something, and so they had the kid home, and I had to have them do some testing for a rollout, and we got on a Teams call, and they looked like they had been hit by a truck or been mugged. It was rough.
Which is unusual for this person.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And so I felt that pain on that call, and I like that empathy kicked in. Well, the next week, like the kid went back, but then the next day something happened, like a pipe burst or something, where they had to shut down again. So then it was like that tease of, okay, that tough, rough time is over. Oh, no, it's not. It's still happening. So she
Just
thought
kidding.
she woke up from the nightmare, but so she posted something. Um, so then the empathy kicked in again. So I sent her a stuffed sloth and a little mug with flowers in it, like a little smiley face, yellow, floral, whatever, um, just to cheer her up. Someone else sent her donuts.
Nice.
So I did that via DoorDash, and she appreciated it, and that was great. Because it makes you feel good too.
Yeah.
The next day, I got on a call that morning, and the person I was talking to was eating a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit breakfast sandwich. And I was like, I must have that. So I went on and I ordered breakfast. Um, and it usually takes about 15 minutes to get here. It's pretty quick. So I'm waiting for my breakfast sandwiches, my sausage McMuffins, my McGriddle. I won't tell you where I ordered from. My McFood and a McBag. And it was like 20 minutes. I'm like, what's going on? So I pull up the site, I look at the map, and I sent it to my coworker where I sent the flowers because I never updated the address. So the next day, she got a bag of breakfast sandwiches. So then I had to tell her that it was a total mistake
Why?
because
You didn't want you didn't
it's
want the
just over
third
the
day to be
top.
a disappointment?
Like now I'm gonna do. I don't. Yeah, like day 3 is like, all right, where's my thing? I thought this was a daily occurrence now. I had a special moment that someone created for me a couple years ago. It was right after lockdown, and I had a call early in the morning, and so got on Teams, and they said they like didn't want to do their hair or whatever, so they just did audio. Um, so we're talking and talking and talking, and then she's like, "I gotta go," and she hung up, and there was immediately a knock on my door, And I'm like, oh, who is it? And it was all my coworkers on the ops team, minus maybe 5 of them that couldn't make it, were standing outside in a big group. And someone had a big box of donuts, and it was for my birthday.
Nice.
That was really cool. I'm like, you're not coming to my house, and I need to go put some jeans on. Yeah.
I didn't put you in, but no.
But that was huge. Like, I'm not a big fan of drop-bys when people just show up. So that was kind of awkward, but it still was really awesome that happened. Because it makes you it strengthens your connection with people. All those things make for better connections, better relationships. Yeah, otherwise it's just the same day-to-day stuff if that stuff doesn't happen. So I'm going to try to do more of that stuff for other people.
That's the hard part.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
it's not always easy. Elle, has something like that happened for you? And if not, then I'm on my way to surprise you.
Like,
I have no
we're
idea
gonna
where
be
you live. So.
planning, the 3 of us.
I'm not at
Yeah.
your house. This isn't
Yeah.
a fake background of my room that you see. At the time.
Yeah.
This is
But
a
don't be
very
surprised
But
if
open your
elaborate
front door.
photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that stuff happen for me. I would say from on my end, I generally err more on the side of, okay, are there small things that I can do regularly instead of less frequent grand gestures? So like, okay, can I shovel my neighbor's walk,
Mm.
when it's winter, because I know that they're not feeling great. Or I think the last big thing that happened for me was my family did an unanticipated drive-by for my birthday last year. And just with the fun pandemic, they didn't come inside, but what they had done was sneak into my front yard and cover it in flamingo lawn ornaments.
Oh, nice.
Open
Did
the
they
door.
take it? Did they take them when they left?
No, I was gifted approximately 80 lawn flamingos.
Sweet.
Is that a
So I think-
special moment? Is that really a gift, or is that here's a project?
I mean, I found it to be hilarious. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, since I was a child, I've been called a flamingo. So I think they were just like, here's the rest of your flamboyance, since that's the name of a group of flamingos.
How long did you leave them up?
I didn't leave them up in the front yard. I took them up and put them in the backyard for a while, just
Okay.
because
Wait, can we get
I
back
wanted
to
my flamingos to stay together and not get stolen.
can we get back to one quick thing? Did you say that a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance?
Yeah.
A flamboyance
Really?
of flamingos?
Yeah.
Isn't
Isn't that great?
Hang on a second. I'm gonna
See, not only do we learn
Buying it.
cool things to do at work, but we also learn cool things about the world all
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. So
That's
that
awesome.
that was very that was meaningful to me. Chad's elated.
It is really a flamboyance.
Yeah.
Holy
He's gonna be
smokes, that's
using that later.
amazing.
It was meaningful to me because it was a big gesture, but it also wasn't, here's a big stage and everybody's watching and now you have to like.
Yeah.
I liked that it was still small. It was still just, here's something nonsense, and then, love you, bye.
Slightly
Yeah.
introverted special moment, right?
Yeah.
As
I
opposed to
really liked that.
we've brought you on live TV to share with everyone
Yes.
your
Yeah.
special moment. No.
10 years ago, you had a drink and said you wanted to try stand up. So now we've reserved time. Absolutely not. But I think, Chad, you're totally right that it's something that really, in the best way, forces you to get to know other people. And so that's one of the things at STG that I really appreciate is we have the ability to basically gift cards to each other.
Yeah.
And the gift card in and of itself may not be particularly personalized or specialized, but being able to send a message with it. So there's someone at STG who was just not feeling great, and they were just saying the only thing I can keep down is pickles and bananas. And so I put on the gift card like to be used only for pickles and bananas, and
That's right.
gave them as much money. So just I really value that, because especially as consultants, and even with our relationship with operations, we can kind of be all over the place, because we're in so many different places at once. So that's just a nice way that we can make time for each other too.
Yeah, and I think the other side of that is we can make time for each other, and that's why. So for my projects, I always do, like, Wednesday is always happy hour, right? At the end of the day, whoever wants to come, because the other side of this is there has to be opportunities to know who you're working with, and that's what that does really, really well. Is we do happy hours. Everybody's, come out. It's a nice little halfway point in the week. Actually, just a little bit more than half at the end of the day, but it's the halfway point in the week. It helps get you over the whatever, and it presents the opportunity to figure out who the heck everybody is. That's huge at the beginning of the project, and then it becomes such a fun thing that by the middle of the project, like, everybody's looking forward to it. So yeah.
So what I'm wondering, Peter, can you talk about kind of when those moments that you've helped make those moments happen, and how was it happy hours or things like that that helped you get to know different people? Because I think a lot of us might start at a new place or get moved to a different team and just like, okay, I wish we were already at the point where we had inside jokes. But you can't really
it's
rush
hard to
that.
start from it's hard to start from a point of inside jokes for sure. And as sappy as it sounds, I think just listening to people all the time, it really helps get that across, right? Like, if they're having a bad day or something's going wrong, and listening to them and finding out, why are they having a bad day, what's going wrong in their life. But doing small things, it's so silly sometimes, right? Like, even, I mean, hey, I'm running to the restaurant for lunch. Do you want me to pick you up anything? Like, it's minuscule, right? I'm already going someplace. I'm not picking up 400 pounds of food or anything for anybody, but just small, tiny things. And when somebody does it for you, or if you go, hey, I'm going over to the restaurant, do you want to come with, or something like that? Just inclusive, gives you time to talk, and outside of work, which I think makes a surprising amount of difference too, right? Like, I think that's what makes happy hours so special, is that it's not the drinking necessarily. That doesn't hurt. I'll just.
It's also not the drinking. So let's just.
Right.
No, but it's not. You're not forced to be there by work, by the trappings of working together.
Right.
You're all there by choice to be together. You're making that commitment to hang.
And if somebody comes to a happy hour and drinks pop or water all the time, that doesn't affect anything about the happy hour. You're away from work, you're outside of the things, so you can talk about work if you want. Sometimes people do. You can talk about not work if you want, and you get to know people and get to find out things. Learning about people's kids and what they do on the weekends and other things, just to really, bridge that gap of, like, oh, you're not just, we don't just talk about work at work, and we're not sitting on a line. I mean, even when I've worked in a warehouse and stuff like that, where you're basically on a line and you're doing the same repetitive thing over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
And and you're not really like, hey, did you get that part in there just right? Oh, that must be exciting. No, nobody talks about that.
Are these O-rings like more brittle than they used to be?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was all the work talk we got, so we might as well talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
I like the fact that with happy hours that you can expand your circle a little bit, and new people show up.
Right.
Or people that you don't always have a chance to connect with that are part of the project. They're not like in your direct working group, but they're part of it. And then you can kind of connect with them and catch up and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
And you feel
Chad, you
up
mentioned that,
better.
right? Like you've invited, I don't know if it was strangers from an elevator at work, but, somewhat similar, like, hey, we're having a happy hour. Come on by if you feel like it,
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean it's especially easy right now because there's so few people in the office when we go in on Wednesdays. Whoever I see, come on over to happy hour.
Right.
And I do that, that's an open invite, but at the end of the day, I get people, whatever. The other side of it though is I also bring in breakfast for everybody on Wednesdays, right? Which is two things. One, I get to go to the diner that I've been going to forever in Northeast Minneapolis, Ideal Diner, highly recommend it. I get to support them because they had lean times. And so I go there, I get, 10, 15 breakfast sandwiches. That does, that's good for them. And then I bring them to the office and like, there's 2 security guards at the office I go to. Front door guy, they get one. Our team gets one. We just, whatever. And it's the best part about it is it's not like it doesn't cost much to do this stuff, right? I mean, it's a non-zero amount, but holy smokes, now people look forward to it. I was traveling this week, and I wasn't able to be in the office on Wednesday.
Do you warn those folks that, hey, by the way, you're going to have to get your own breakfast on Wednesday?
This week was a little more impromptu than usual, but it was fun because I did get like 3 messages on Teams from like, and I had to actually like look at him like, who was that? And I'm like, oh, that's right, he's the door guy. He's the guy that sits at the front door. And I'm like, and it's not like, hey, where's my sandwich? It's, hey, I missed you today. Are you all right? Right. And so that's,
It was a special moment back.
Yeah.
They checked in on you just to see how you were doing and wouldn't have happened otherwise, right?
Yeah. So I mean, this stuff it's so easy. And like L's point, SDG makes it really easy to do this for each other. I don't know how many high fives you can give out in a month, but
$50 worth is the.
I think.
But if you went a little over, yeah, they might let that slip by.
But like I have a reminder in my calendar to always, at the end of the month, I thought I heard 2 or 3, but I'm like, I always have a reminder like to never not use that money to make somebody feel, because it's such a silly little thing, but I actually spend time on Friday, the last Friday of the month, not just giving the high five, but to L's point, writing a big, huge note in them.
Yeah.
And
being thoughtful.
Explaining everything that was meaningful about, what me and whoever did that previous whatever.
When I've gotten them, a lot of times the write up is like way more valuable than the money or the gift card. It was like, oh wow, they listed a whole bunch of stuff that I do and that they appreciate, and it's like, finally.
Well, but it's nice to hear somebody else seeing, it's not stuff that you wouldn't do, Kyle, right?
Right.
It's all part of your job, and it's all what you would do with or without the special moment. But
yeah,
the special moment just makes it a little bit better, a little bit happier, a little bit nicer.
There's a feeling of satisfaction, and I think there's some like something about that validation that people need. That
well, we're social
yeah
creatures, like just having that sense of connection and just being seen.
Yeah, we are so wired that way for socialization and working together.
So here's I guess Kyle, Chad, or Peter, any one of you, how do you continue to make special moments for other people and not have it drain you? Like, is there I'm thinking of maybe Chad, for example, if you bring in sandwiches every week and then people just sort of assume that that's the norm and you might be
Yeah.
sick, or you might, I don't know, go from full-time to part-time, or, like how do you keep that sense of it being special and positive on both sides of that relationship?
I don't ever, I don't know. This is going to sound worse than it's going to come across, but like I don't ever expect it for myself, right? I go into it with zero expectations that any of this stuff is ever going to bounce back to me. So that way I'm never like disappointed that it's not. But at the same time, like it's one of those things where like I don't, I don't necessarily expect it. I don't care. And if somebody else is, better off than I don't care how they got. I don't. It doesn't bother me that if it does or doesn't happen to me, I truly, truly don't care. Right? Like it makes me feel really nice to do that for other people. And so my the joy that I get out of the entire thing is more, doing it for other people. And if it happens for me once in a while, great. If it doesn't, I'm also great. Like that's not a big deal.
And I think that's important to call out too. Like, so thank you. Like, it doesn't sound bad, I don't think, because there can be a way of looking at this as like a quid pro quo thing where I tell you what you do well, and now it's your turn to tell me. Like,
yeah.
Don't go into it expecting
we
that
have
kind of
the rotating high five club
Yeah.
to make sure we all get that much. Yeah. No, I think the key is that they're special. Like, and it's about being a special moment. It's not something with strings attached. Like it can't be. Like gifts with strings aren't gifts.
It's always better to give than to receive. And we've heard that. I don't know. I've heard that since I was a child, and I haven't been a child for a really long time. So, it does feel it's just like Christmas and birthdays. If you find that special gift for someone, that thing that they didn't have on their list, but they smile and they have joy in their eyes when they open it, and they're like, "Ah, you totally remembered this," or 80 flamingos on the front yard as a tie back to things that your family knows about you and everything. It's like, it's so much fun. I'm sure they all had a blast coming together and figuring out how to get 80 flamingos into your front yard, right?
And how to set them up all silently.
Right.
Well, the other part of it too is that it does get to be kind of contagious after a while, right? So don't expect it, but it is, these things start to happen more and more once it's got momentum.
Right. Yeah. So. And I've been at clients where that happens too, right? Like somebody brings in donuts occasionally, right?
Right.
And then, now somebody else brought in donuts just cause they like, it's my birthday, or, it's a fun time. And pretty soon, you have to watch yourself or you're going to go down the
getting a little heavy.
Yeah. But and then it ebbs and flows too, right? Like, everybody's bringing in donuts. I need to not bring in donuts for a while. And, we haven't had donuts for a while. I should bring in donuts. 2 people bring donuts on the same day. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's just serendipity, and it's fun. And it's fun that we have a word called serendipity for that exact thing, right?
What do you call a flock of serendipities? Al, is there like a cool flamingo?
Is there a bird for that?
A klaxon of serendipities.
Wow. All right.
That's a good word, klaxon.
I gotta go get my dictionary.
I had at one of my clients years ago. I sat down on my desk, and I had little tiny ninjas, like all arranged around my monitor base.
Awesome.
And it made my whole week. I still think of that, and it makes me smile. Stuff like that. And then I had to figure out who did it. So that was fun.
Yep.
And so I just waited. I didn't look for the person. I waited until somebody was like checking to see if I liked it, or I lured him in. I figured out it was the PM that did it.
It's still fun.
And it was awesome. The the gifts with strings, the feeling the need to reciprocate immediately, like it's like learning to take a compliment. You have to
Mhm.
learn to take a gift.
Right.
Where it's like somebody did a special thing for me and there's no strings. I don't have to immediately like oh, they got me breakfast, so I'm gonna get them lunch the next day, and then it's gonna become this whole like escalating arms race.
Yeah, that's a
Mm.
chore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know if I showed you guys this last week or not, but it's a little special moment for me. The bar that I frequent actually just had this made for me. It is a jacket with my name embroidered on it,
Nice.
and it's got the name of the bar on the back.
Yeah.
like,
You
oh.
lettered in happy hour.
Yeah.
Yes, I literally. Thank you,
I
Elle.
love it.
I've majored.
That's the joke of the week.
Yeah, I went pro. It's great.
Lettered in
That's
happy hour.
awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
But-
didn't expect that, but I went the other day, and he's like, "Oh, got a present for you."
And
And,
Aw.
brought it up.
honestly, I can see your face light up even now.
Totally.
I know.
Right?
It was
Like-
so cool.
Like so cool, right?
That's the jacket you're going to be wearing for years. Or you're going to keep
Kind
it
of.
nice, hanging on the wall. Like, what are you
No,
going to
no,
do?
it's well. Here's the nudge. They accidentally got me a 2XL. So the
Oh.
jacket is huge
They
on
think you're
me.
going to drink more
So we
Greenbelt
need
than
to
You'll
you.
be
start
warm.
sending you donuts and
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
This is an easy problem to fix.
Yeah.
I figured if I pitched it to you folks, a solution would present itself.
It
It
could
always
be
fits.
wall
That's
art.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
the
got
intention.
grain belt
It's going to be
thing.
wall art.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was special.
Mm.
But still, it's a special moment. And man, those things just like, I don't know if you guys remember it near the beginning of the pandemic when they started Some Good News, right? What's his name from The Office?
John Krasinski.
Yeah, started Some Good News. And, it was pretty fun and exciting and cool at the start. And sadly, it got a little bit into the economics of the world. But still, just presenting some good news, just little uplifting things.
Yeah. Like a thank you email.
Right.
Like pointing out something to your team that somebody else did. Some gratitude. Like a more of a public thank you goes a long way too. Like showing that appreciation, but letting other people know, that's pretty meaningful.
Yep. And private too, right? Like, oh, hey, thanks for doing that
Yeah,
one thing.
definitely.
You worked really hard on that, and I don't need to parade you in front of the group to high five you or anything like that. But thanks, and just I mean, it's just like emptying the dishwasher, right? It's not really hard to do.
Oh, it
But
is.
man, does it feel so amazing when you come to the dishwasher and it's already been emptied. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look, somebody did that. That was cool.
And
I think
it's important.
oh, go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, it's like I try to very hard. Like I'm in, a role on a project that is a kind of a leadership type thing, but I make damn sure to like every week connect with literally everybody on the team. Like I hate not talking to, like if there's a quiet person on the team, that's temporary, right? They're going to be we try to turn that around because just Fridays, like, hey man, I didn't hear much from you this week. How you doing? You got time for a 5-minute chat? And the 5-minute chat isn't work related. It's, the opposite of that.
Right,
So that is as small a gesture as you could possibly make. But even that little thing, I remember I had a boss that did that for me a long time ago. So I learned some of these habits, and it just matters like a lot. It's not hard. That's the key message is like, this isn't hard at all.
Right. I try to make interactions positive. So a lot of times when people are reaching out to me, Um, it's they're frustrated. They're having
Hmm.
some kind of issue they need help with, or they need something like some piece of equipment, something. People are always worried that they're going to hear no. Um, so, or they're going to get a big, like, huge list of questions and rigmarole and like, why do you need this? What's your business case? Oh, well, it's like, so I try to say yes as much as possible. Um, Sometimes I have to ask for permission, but it's just little stuff like, you know, someone needs an adapter.
Hmm.
Okay, sure. Yep. Uh-huh. All right. And get it as fast, get it to them as
Piece of cake,
fast as possible.
right?
Like all of a sudden that afternoon, the thing they asked about shows up at their doorstep because they do same day delivery or whatever. Those little like, how can I delight this person? How can I surprise them? How can I like not be the guy, not be the gatekeeper or the barrier or, um, and then, realizing that you're the face of the company in that moment. Um, it's part of their work experience, part of how they feel about working at the company. Like when I go to the IT guy, I'm talking to the company to get what I need. And if you don't have to hear no all the time, or like if someone's willing to drop everything for you, um, it's helpful. Although I did not do that once last week. I was worn out. Anyway, you
So,
don't always get it
so,
right.
so we talk about doing this for others, and it's special moments. Do you ever try to create or work towards having special moments for yourself? Do
Yeah.
nice things for yourself that you'll appreciate later on,
Yes.
as opposed to sabotage like future me later on. Like, oh, I'm
Oh,
going to
I
do
do
this
that
really
more.
sloppy.
Yeah. I do more of that than special moments, but I give myself rewards for going through rough patches, like sitting in my parents' basement healing from my surgery, thinking, I'm going to get a big, big, big TV when this is over with. I'm going to get a lazy boy chair that swivels and rocks, and like that's what I'm going to do for this is one of the worst times, one of the worst things that's ever happened to me, and life sucks right now. So when this is all over with, and I thought about that every day, like, that doing that for myself, just chucking myself into debt to get that special moment to happen.
Well, and for myself, I was thinking about that, and in a similar vein, maybe not the giant TV way, but one of the first things I did, sort of consciously thinking about it, like what would make my desk better at home, even though this was before the pandemic. But I wanted, so I got a nice chair,
Yeah.
right? And I appreciate past me for getting this chair all the time, because it's so much better than the other chair. And just like, well, why didn't I do this before? What
Yeah.
what was keeping me from doing this
There's
before?
two things that it's like, do not skimp on a mattress or the chair you sit in every day.
Right.
You sleep in that bed every night. If you sleep in an uncomfortable bed and you can afford a new mattress,
Right.
like, yeah, if you're stuck, if you don't got any money, but, spend the money, get yourself a new mattress. Um, it's worth it, and a good chair. I've
But
got a brand new chair in a box that I have to put together, and a new
just need,
desk.
you just need to sit on the chair, on the box,
I
until you get it together, and then you'll know.
I
And
wrecked
other
the
small things like
battery.
this
Yeah,
pencil, right? I like these pencils. They're
yeah,
just one of my favorite. So I bought them. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, that was easy. Why didn't I
Yeah.
do that before? Chad, you do so many nice things for other folks. Do you do a little special moments for yourself? Or is the act of doing the special moment for yourself?
Yeah, let's ask Elle first because I'm trying to think still. Ever since you asked that, I'm like, do I have? I mean, Elle, you go first.
Yes, I try to make spaces to treat myself, to paraphrase Retta from Parks and Rec. So one of the things that is I suppose tradition at this point is to take at least 2 weeks off at the end of the year.
Nice.
Every year to just, I'm going to forget what day of the week it is, and I'm going to sleep in, and I don't have to get anything done. I can do stuff if I want to, but just to have that nonsense time that's just for like being lazy and
Just
gluttonous and hedonistic and
to recharge a little bit and
exactly.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to just know that like this is my time and I don't have to do nothing if I don't want to.
Yeah.
I usually do try to do that at the end of the year. And something like so many times, like over the last 5 years, 4 of them, something has come up
No.
where, where I really couldn't do it. I had to get something done. The timing was bad. But
Hey.
yeah, I think that's like this year it just got bumped to the end of February.
So yeah, you still have it coming
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
I was going to say, Chad, you have a vacation coming up.
I do.
That will be treating yourself.
It will be, and that was going to be my. So I guess I have 2 examples. In the spring and summer, we've got season tickets for the Twins, and my wife doesn't love going, so I usually find somebody to go with, right? And it's rotating cast of buddies that I go to games with. That's one thing, and then the other side of it is I don't like taking PTO or time away from work. I really don't. So I usually collect a lot of it. But when we do, it's kind of absurd. So the way that works is my wife will pick the destination, and I just like, I don't care where we go. You pick wherever you want to go. Just, I want to get a cool car. That's usually my thing. So when we travel,
Nice.
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I want to go to California. I'm like, great. We drove up the California coast and we rented a Mustang convertible. Or
Nice.
once we went to Vegas and she rented me a Ferrari for a day. That was kind of fun. We're going to Hawaii in May, and she actually, special moment, she found for me, she found a 1957 Porsche that we're going to rent for the trip.
Fun.
That we'll
Nice.
fool around on. So I guess for me, like between baseball and then my every 3-year vacation that we maybe go a little over the top on, that's all I need. I'm usually good. So that's what I create for myself.
Awesome.
Right? Like I get myself a cool car once in a while. And baseball and summertime, I've got a motorcycle. That's my special me time. I get on the bike. Purposely didn't put a back seat on it so that it's not it's a
So
no
that you
passenger situation.
You
Yeah.
have to buy another motorcycle if you want your wife to go with you.
Yeah, you can follow me, but like this is the me time.
So not even like a sidecar.
I don't like the look of those. I thought
Okay.
about it at one point, but no, it's really just that's my time.
But that
Yeah.
sounds like a special moment. Like you have a nice time on that bike, right?
Usually, yeah, I really
mean-
did before everybody had a cell phone in their hand.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
The world has
it's sort of
changed.
usually a white knuckle ride most days, but still fun.
Got to find some back roads or something, huh?
There you go.
Excellent. Well, I think this podcast has been a special moment. So with that, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Say goodbye, everybody.
So
Goodbye.
long.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Solution Design Group is a digital product consultancy in Minneapolis. Check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com or look for us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Solution Design Group.